Bitcoin, whose proponents frequently highlight it as a superior hedge against the rising costs than gold, has been suffering in light of the fact that inflation in the United States reached a new 4-decade high of 8.5% in March compared to a year earlier. But still, one of the most passionate proponents of Bitcoin, Michael Saylor, has reiterated his opinion that the digital asset is a more effective financial instrument than gold. He is of the opinion that the value of BTC will continue to increase even if the cryptocurrency market is now in a state of loss. So, what did Michael Saylor have to say about Bitcoin? And why is it still the best investment ever? Hello and welcome back to Crypto Cash Channel. What's your take on buying Bitcoin? Do you still consider it a hedge against inflation? In today's video, we look at why Michael Saylor thinks that BTC is still the #1 investment. But, first, before we go on, a sub to the channel would be very appreciated. Comment, share the video, and don't forget to leave a thumbs up for the video. And without any further ado, let's get into it. At the end of June, Bitcoin was trading for somewhere near $20,000. As a result of the decline in the value of key tokens like Bitcoin, the total worth of the global cryptocurrency market has fallen to $900 billion, as reported by CoinMarketCap. This dip in value came about as a direct result of the bear market. And due to the Federal Reserve's anticipated future tightening of monetary policy, several speculators are anticipating a coming crypto bloodbath, in which the price of Bitcoin might drop to as low as $10,000. However, Michael Saylor, the chief executive officer of MicroStrategy and the most fervent supporter of Bitcoin in the world, says Bitcoin is still unstoppable. Since August 2020, Saylor's software intelligence company has spent a total of $3.7 billion to acquire 129,218 Bitcoins at an average price of $30,700 for each coin. Saylor, who possesses more than 17,000 Bitcoins in addition to MicroStrategies, claims that Bitcoin maximalists, fundamentalists, and true believers are all in accord that Bitcoin is a good thing. Bitcoin, in their view, is both a secure sanctuary and a good investment for the long term. They do not engage in trading for it, rather, they just buy as much of it as they can afford. According to Saylor, macro traders and tech investors have been racing to sell or short Bitcoin along with other risk assets ever since the Fed announced a series of aggressive rate hikes to curb inflation. These rate rises are intended to combat inflation. Such macro traders do not engage in the practice of hodling and are not loyal believers of the cryptocurrency. And so, Saylor says that they take such a traditional and backward approach toward Bitcoin. But why so much volatility for Bitcoin? Bitcoin has been following the trend of high-growth technology shares, which often experience a big decline whenever there is an increase in the interest rate. The 40-day correlation between Bitcoin and the Nasdaq Composite Index, which is strongly weighted toward technology, reached an all-time high of 0.70 in the month of April. This was the highest level it has ever reached. This signifies those two assets are moving together in tandem with one another. The ongoing tug-of-war between investors in macroeconomics and technology as well as maximalists in the Bitcoin market has contributed to the token's price as extremely volatile. Saylor believes that as long as there is a lot of noise, traders will be successful because they have the financial resources to invest. Fundamentalists are in the majority when assessing what will happen to Bitcoin over the next 4 to 10 years. But the macro traders make a quick profit in a few weeks or months. Saylor anticipates that in the long term, Bitcoin will lose its relationship with risk assets as more people become familiar with the cryptocurrency's underlying principles. Janet Yellen, the Secretary of the Treasury, recently gave a talk on digital assets at the American University in Washington, District of Columbia. Yellen has changed her mind about digital assets, and now she believes that risk-managed innovation should be fostered and that regulation should be tech-neutral. So, what does Saylor hope the future will hold for Bitcoin? Saylor made the observation that people will develop a higher level of sophistication as their educational levels rise, to go past having a fear of it or believing that it is merely another random item that can be traded and to instead have a true grasp of its fundamentals. Saylor claims that he has devoted over 2,000 hours to researching Bitcoin, which he refers to as property, in contrast to other cryptocurrencies, which he calls security tokens. But why a property? Because of the three most important qualities, that is acquiring Bitcoin as a property, keeping it, and utilizing his company management discretion to either efficiently leverage it or, on occasion, borrow against it. And he has every intention of investing every penny that his firm makes into it. MicroStrategy is able to choose between selling volatility against it or creating income from it as their investment strategy. In short, according to Saylor, The ownership of a Bitcoin bestows property rights that are superior to those of a security token or a spot Bitcoin exchange-traded fund, both of which have not yet been authorized by the Securities and Exchange Commission. But is that all? Well, the real brilliance of Bitcoin is that it gives working people the ability to own their own property independently. Saylor maintains that ownership of real estate has always been limited to those who are financially able to purchase it. When you consider the number of individuals that live on our planet, you'll notice that the majority of them have a tough time owning property. This is because real estate has a fixed rate and most people can't afford it. No wonder. Saylor continues to have faith in Bitcoin's potential in the long run despite the fact that its price has dropped significantly from its all-time highs. In an interview with CNBC, he stated that the short-term volatility of the asset is not a reason for concern since it will be successful in the long run. According to his point of view, the cryptocurrency community may be broken down into deniers, skeptics, and proponents of Bitcoin. The first two camps are of the opinion that Bitcoin is either fictitious or that it will one day be made illegal by the government. So, what does Saylor think about this? Saylor is of the opinion that they are both completely off base. He went on to say that rather than disappearing entirely or going to zero, BTC will eventually surge to $1 million. The American believes that Bitcoin is special, since there is no other network in the world that has the same degree of acceptability and security as Bitcoin. He also discussed the fact that Senators Cynthia Lummis and Kirsten Gillibrand have only this week submitted a regulation package that is favorable toward cryptocurrencies. The law, in his opinion, recognizes the potential value that cryptocurrencies will have in the long run. And if it is approved, it will show the broader public that digital assets now exist and will continue to do so in the future. On March 14th, Michael Saylor was invited to speak to a meeting of economists at the Economic Club of New York. During the meeting, he addressed the topic of the rising popularity of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. The impact that digital cash and digital property have on the economy of the United States and on actual currencies was another topic of discussion. Saylor suggested that because Bitcoin is so scarce, it is a superior investment to gold or real estate due to its limited supply. During the talk, Saylor employed a figure of speech known as a rhetorical question to illustrate to the audience why Bitcoin is better than other cryptocurrencies. He suggested that during times of geopolitical upheavals, such as the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, cryptocurrencies, such as Bitcoin, may prove to be more useful than gold or property. In a tweet on March 9th, he stated that the expansion of digital assets gives an opportunity for the United States to maintain its position as a leader in both the international financial system and the field of technical innovation. Saylor is also of the opinion that armed conflict will ultimately result in an increase in the usage of Bitcoin, as was the case historically. Throughout the entirety of the struggle, gold and real estate have been unsuccessful as inflation hedges, while cryptocurrencies have emerged victorious. He made a point of bragging about the number of times that his firm, MicroStrategy, had invested money in Bitcoin. The most recent time this occurred was in January 2022, when the company paid almost $25 million over the course of a month to purchase 660 Bitcoins. So, all in all, to Saylor, Bitcoin is going to rebound no matter the circumstances. And that's all for today's video. Thanks for watching. Do you think Michael Saylor is correct? Is Bitcoin still the #1 best investment? Comment below. Let's engage. Also, if you are interested in more videos like this, make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell for more amazing videos. See you in the next video.